Hey, welcome back to Weeby Kids again. This week we've gone from 8 inches of snow in our garden, which was very unexpected at the weekend, to beautiful, bright, warm spring days like today. Down our street there is a beautiful magnolia tree, but sadly it's not going to bloom this year because the frost and the snow have attacked its petals. But there is one flower which will bloom this spring. It already is doing, and it's our trusty friend, the dandelion. Now in my lifetime I was often told that the dandelion is a weed, but that isn't the case. As I've grown up I have learned that the dandelion is a beautiful flower, not only for us to look at, but it's also very, very useful for the early bees and butterflies as well. So this story is an old story. It was first recorded in the early 1900s, and it is called The Legend of the Dandelion. Now the flower fairy had come down to earth in search of the flower that it could love the most. On its journey it flew around looking at all different flowers, and it came across the tulip. And it flew down to the tulip and it said, "Tulip, if you could choose any place in the entire world that you could grow, where would you grow the most?" And the tulip thought for a moment and said, "If I could grow anywhere, I would grow on a velvety lawn in the castle grounds with the grey castle walls behind me as a backdrop for my beautiful colours. And each day the princess would walk out to me and feel my soft petals and smell my beautiful scent and tell me how beautiful I am." And the flower fairy thought for a moment, turned her back and walked on until she came to a beautiful red rose. And she said, "Red rose, if you could choose anywhere on the earth to grow, where would you grow the most?" And the red rose said, "Well, I would grow in the castle grounds too, for I am beautiful but also weak and delicate, and I could climb up the castle walls and they would give me strength." And the fairy turned and walked away until it came to the violet. And it went up to the violet and said, "Violet, if you could choose anywhere in the earth to grow, where would you grow the most?" And the violet said, "If I was going to grow anywhere in the earth, I would grow in the woodland. And the bubbling brook would cool my roots, and the tall trees would offer shade for my beautiful petals, and I would be undisturbed amongst the mosses." And the fairy turned her back and she walked on until she came to the dandelion. And when she arrived at the dandelion, she said, "Dandelion, if you could choose anywhere in the world to grow, where would you grow the most?" And the dandelion didn't hesitate. The dandelion said, "I would grow where the children could find me. I would grow outside schools, on playing fields, in the meadows. I would grow in the cities out of the cracks of pavements, and in country hedgerows. Wherever there were children, I would grow. For my beautiful flower could bring them joy and happiness after the long winters." And the fairy nodded. She said, "Dandelion, you are the flower that I love the most. For not only are you beautiful, but you are generous too. And that is where you shall grow, wherever there are children, wherever they will see you, in fields, in towns, in cities, in meadows. And because I love you so much, Dandelion, you shall grow twice in the year, at the early spring to bring joy and happiness, and then you can flower again in the late summer." And the dandelion thanked the flower fairy, and the flower fairy went off. And ever since that day, The dandelion has grown wherever there are children, and that is why the dandelion is the children's flower. So I hope you enjoyed that story, a lovely little tale about a beautiful little flower which is often overlooked. Wherever we go, from the start of the spring until early autumn, we see the dandelion. So next time you're out, notice the dandelion and remember that it wanted to spread itself far and wide to bring all of us lots and lots of joy. So hope you have a good adventure this week. Thanks for stopping by at We Be Kids, and we will see you again sometime soon. Bye.